Welcome to ILTV's Israel Daily. I'm Natasha Kirchuk, and coming up in today's newscast, final election results are delayed because of extra checks in dozens of polling stations. Israel widens its coronavirus rules, spreading panic across the country, and we'll reveal which international superstar has just performed in Tel Aviv. This evening, Israel is set to announce the final, yet unofficial results of Monday's elections, and so far the numbers seem to be clear. Over 99% of the votes have been counted, and like we reported yesterday, Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu's Likud party has won 36 seats, while his main opposition, Blue and White, has won 33. But it looks like Israel is still facing a political deadlock because after adding up all of the seats, the right-wing bloc only has 58 and the left-wing bloc only has 55, meaning that both do not pass that threshold of 61 seats to form a government coalition. Still, the final results of the election will only be made official next Monday. And as of now, on the right, the ultra-Orthodox parties of Shas and United Toward Judaism have 9 and 7 seats respectively. Yamina has 6 seats. On the left, the Joint Arab List has won an unprecedented 15 seats, and Labor Gesher Meretz has won 7. And finally, Avigdor Lieberman's Israel Beitenu party, which refuses to sit with either side for now, has 7 seats. Now, this means that the right-wing bloc is now 3 seats away from hitting that 61-seat minimum, like I said before, to form a coalition, which is why Likud says it's planning to woo over lawmakers from across the aisle to join a Netanyahu-led government and, of course, avert a 4th round of elections. Now, in the meantime, the Israel Beitenu party has just announced on Thursday that it would support a law barring Prime Minister Netanyahu from forming the next government, which will likely ensure a majority for the legislation in the Knesset. And an additional law is also going to be voted on that would limit the tenure of a prime minister to 2 terms. Both laws are actually aimed directly at Netanyahu, who has served 4 terms as the Israeli prime minister and is headed to trial for charges of corruption on March 17th. The Israeli leader is hitting back, of course, and accusing his main rival, Benny Gantz, from the Blue and White Party of attempting to undermine democracy and defy the public by seeking legislation against him. He says, Gantz lost and now he is trying to steal the election. My friends and I, millions of citizens who supported us, will not let that happen. Well, as Israel faces yet another political deadlock after the 3rd round of elections in less than a year, Israelis can't help but wonder, are we headed to 4th elections? Well, joining us now with all of the possible coalition scenarios this time around is columnist for Newsweek and editor of HistoryCentral.com, Mark Schulman. All right, Mark, so let's first talk about these laws. This law to prevent more than 2 terms for the Israeli prime minister and to also prevent Netanyahu from forming a government.
Right, so there's 2 laws that actually. There's the one the Israel Beitenu wants, which is it should be in effect immediately. So that means that someone who's under indictment cannot form a government, and that would affect the ability of Netanyahu right now to even try. And also, of course, 2 terms. He's already served, 5 terms at this point. So that would immediately...
4.
Well, 4 plus the one earlier one, I think. So it depends on how you look at it.
Okay, that's true. It does depend how you look
at it. So in any case, so that would immediately take effect. Blue and White is claiming they want it only for the next election, which would also limit the fact that if there's a 4th election, Netanyahu wouldn't be able to run.
Right, so the idea is we're not trying to undermine you now, but down the line, yes.
Well, we're setting in place. I mean, there's a question whether he can form the government anyway. There's legal challenges to that question to begin with because it's a gray area of Israeli law altogether. So this is a way of clarifying it. What is clear from this statement, of course, though, is the fact that in order to do that, Lieberman is going to have to recommend Gantz to form the government.
Right, but even if he does that, Gantz says that he won't sit with the Joint Arab List party.
First of all, the step one will be to elect a new Speaker of the Knesset, because in order to do the things that Lieberman wants, you need a new Speaker of the Knesset, not from Likud. So you'll have a Speaker of the Knesset from Blue and White, and the person who will be in charge of arranging the Knesset will be someone from Blue and White. And minimally, if we're in another 4 months of who knows what of another election, we'll have an active Knesset in the meantime.
But there is something to be said about Netanyahu's statement that, the people voted for the right. So
wait a second. You can only make that statement.
My question is, this is my question, okay? Is there a possibility that Rivlin would say, okay, there's obviously a lot of issues surrounding Netanyahu specifically, but if we would I'm going to give the chance to somebody within Likud to.
He clearly could do that because Likud is the largest party. There's no question.
But there has to be legislation around that.
Well, no, he can just do that. Rivlin has the power to do it. He's never exercised that power, but he certainly has it, and he can say he's under indictment. I don't feel it's appropriate to give him the responsibility. But let's keep in mind that other statement you made, because you're quoting basically Netanyahu's line. The reality is 62 members of the Knesset oppose Netanyahu and oppose Netanyahu continuing to be the prime minister. And while the first election people could say, well, they voted for Avigdor Lieberman, they thought he was pro-Netanyahu. Lieberman made it very clear in this election that he was against Netanyahu continuing. So there's no question 62, that's democracy. I'm sorry, you have to count the Arabs as part of the democracy. So 62 Knesset members are in favor of Netanyahu not continuing.
Right, but I mean, there was a larger majority. Okay, I understand what you're saying.
Look, Netanyahu clearly had a great comeback. There are more members of Likud this time than there was last time.
I mean, he did win. Likud
he
won 36 seats.
He won 36 seats, opposed to 33. But on the other hand, the last two times, Blue and White had more seats than Likud, and that didn't mean that everyone said, "Well, Blue and White has to become the new government." So the reality is, 62 is 62. It's more.
Well, or the question here is whether or not, I mean,
we have a lot
Blue
of
and White. Yeah.
We have a lot of other scenarios.
Let's talk about the other scenarios.
We have other scenarios.
Right, exactly.
So we could go back once again and try to get a coalition government, that rotation agreement. That's certainly one of the possibilities. I don't think there's much chance. The numbers stay at 58. There isn't much of a chance of enough people going from Likud, going from Blue and White to Likud at this point. It's one they could have gotten. Two.
It's only three
seats. Three is quite a number, because if once you go over to the other side, you lose all sorts of things. You can't be a Knesset member. There are all sorts of reasons.
Yeah, but the question
legally.
is there somebody who's willing to defect in the name of not going to fourth elections?
No, there's no one who's willing to do that. No one's going to give up their career for that purpose. Not a chance of that happening. And why not the other way? Why not Likudniks going the other direction? It's like it's all on one side. It doesn't have to be on one side.
All right. Well, here's my final question for you, because we're running out of time. So give us the last possible scenario. Is a unity government an option?
It's an option. Especially one possibility is if Gantz goes first and it says Netanyahu will become prime minister after 2 years, and at that point he'll have finished his legal cases, and either he'll be clean, in that case no problem in being prime minister, or he'll be in jail, I guess no problem with that issue if he loses the cases. So that's clearly a possibility, and of course we really have a possibility of a fourth election, believe it or not. We can be sitting here 5 months from now and discussing the next election.
Well, I hope that that's not the case. All right, Mark, thank you so much for joining us today. All right, Israel is dramatically widening its rules against the coronavirus, and not everybody is happy about the panic that it's causing. The Jewish holiday of Purim, which is essentially Israel's Halloween, is being severely affected. Now Greece says that 21 tourists who visited Israel are sick with the coronavirus. Now, like we said, coronavirus panic is taking over Israel as the health ministry increases its orders to prevent the spread of the disease in Israel. An estimated 70,000 Israelis are now in self-quarantine. So who is being affected?
דרישה מכל הבאים מהמדינות הבאות, מצרפת, מגרמניה, משוויץ, מספרד ומאוסטריה, להיכנס, הישראלים ששבים משם, להיכנס לבידוד עצמי של 14 יום.
That's right. Even all of the Israelis who have come from these European countries within the last 14 days have to self-quarantine. Foreigners who have been in most Asian countries, or Iraq, Syria, or Lebanon in the 14 days before their arrival to Israel, will also not be allowed in Israel. And Israel is now banning gatherings of over 5,000 people, which means that all the major concerts, parties, and parades for the upcoming Purim holiday are now canceled. And anyone who has been abroad over the last 2 weeks is also banned from any gathering of 100 people or more. The IDF is also forbidding all soldiers from traveling abroad and canceling all international exercises. And the health ministry is even urging Israelis to avoid all physical contact, including kissing Jewish mezuzot.
אני נותן דוגמה אחת, היא חשובה. צריך להקפיד הקפדה אדירה על היגיינה אישית. זה אומר לעשות דבר שהוא נגד האופי שלנו ונגד הטבע האנושי, נגד הטבע שלנו כעם וכחברה, להימנע מלחיצת ידיים. אני לוקח על עצמי להיות הראשון שאומר לכם, פשוט לחדול מלחיצת יד כפי שאני עושה.
Israel's taking more severe precaution against the spread of the coronavirus than other countries, but is facing criticism even from officials within the own government. Authorities are lambasting the strict restrictions as placing the country's economy in jeopardy. And so far, over 94,000 people have been infected with the coronavirus worldwide. 3,200 people have died, but China claims that there has been a slowdown in new cases out of the country. Still, Health officials are concerned by the rather high death rate of the virus, claiming that about 3.4% of those with the disease have passed away. The common seasonal flu, on the other hand, generally kills fewer than 1%. More and more information is coming out, but it's important to keep in mind that an American woman who was actually recently in Jerusalem has also just been diagnosed with the coronavirus. So Israelis are taking precaution, and anybody who was in contact with her is now also going into quarantine. Now, like I said, 70,000 Israelis are now in self-quarantine, and while it's certainly tough to be stuck in your house for so long, two young quarantined Israeli women have decided to open a hilarious Instagram account that is bringing the quarantine community together. Joining us from their house on Skype are Stephanie and Joyce, comfortable on the couch right now. So tell us, how did you guys end up in quarantine?
So the two of us were in Italy together, and that's where we met, actually. And we came back to Israel. And at first it was just like, if you have a symptom, go to MATA. And then Thursday, the 27th, it turned into if you had been in Italy from the 13th to that you're in 14-day home quarantine. So at this point, we were stuck together in this apartment. And ever since, we're in home quarantine together.
Too long.
Wow.
And we decided to create an account called Creatively Quarantine.
You're going rogue.
Right, so tell us, okay, yeah, so that's actually how we got into contact with you guys. Okay, yalla boy, guys, tough. All right, let's do it again. Don't worry, I'm gonna ask you questions. You're perfect, you're fine, it's not too long. Don't say that it's too long when we're filming, okay?
Yeah,
We can hear you. Don't scare her, don't scare her. It's all, like, really, I promise you, I'm gonna move it. I'll ask you questions. I'll get to the Instagram page. Don't worry, okay? You're fine.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No,
Okay.
no worries, no worries. I really I'm sorry that I'm doing this to you guys. I just, we have to make it a little bit more concise. That's all. Okay? All right. Yeah, we're doing it last time. Ready? This is it. Okay. All right, guys. So tell us, how did you end up in quarantine?
So the two of us actually met on a group trip with friends in Italy, and we came back to Israel. And at first it was just, if you have a symptom, corona symptom, go to MATA. But then on the 27th, it became 14-day home quarantine. So we've been in home quarantine since then. And
Wow.
It's been a week.
It's been a week. And the two of you are together, even though you met in Italy, because you decided to basically, go through quarantine together. And you guys, we found out about you because you created this hilarious page. Tell us a little bit about what it is. What is it called?
Okay, so the page is called Creatively Quarantined. And we basically started the page because I'm a dancer and I wanted to use my time in quarantine creatively. And basically I saw it as like a blank space, an incubator for anything. So I came up with this idea to drive initiative to be creative in quarantine and actually put a positive spin on this blank time that people probably are upset about, but hey, let's see what we could actually create inside of this space.
she actually thought of it as a personal thing for herself. And then I was like, this can totally be a global community. We see what's going on with Corona. So it turned into this page that we're trying to build up a community from all around the world.
First of all, congratulations on how, it's just amazing that you've created something beautiful out of this, because I know it's not easy to be stuck in your house for 2
Thank
weeks.
you.
I don't know what I would do, but I feel like everybody's about to go into quarantine, so they might have to kind of look at you guys as the example for how to smile during this time. All right, girls.
So nice.
Thank you so much for joining us, and we hope that you get out soon and continue what you're doing to support everybody else.
Thank
Stay
you.
creative, people.
Creatively quarantined.
All right, now, if you're looking for world-class healthcare, you may want to head to the Holy Land. Israel's Shiva Medical Center at the Tel Aviv Hospital has just been named among the top 10 best hospitals in the world by Newsweek magazine, and this is actually the second year in a row. Thousands of medical professionals and patients from across the world have helped shape the world's best hospitals 2020 list by Newsweek, and the Shiva Medical Center ranks as number 9 out of the 21 hospitals on the list. It's the largest medical center in all of Israel and has recently made headlines for caring for all of the Israeli patients that have been diagnosed with coronavirus. And the Israeli Medical Center employs just over 9,000 medical professionals and is known for being a leader in medical science and biotechnical innovation worldwide. So, wondering what the number 1 hospital in the world is? Well, the list claims it's the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota. All right, now this is absolutely amazing. An Israeli researcher has just identified the Galilee Caves where Jews fought the Romans almost 2,000 years ago. 2,000 years ago, one brave man left Jerusalem behind to make his way to the northern Galilee, where he would lead the Jews of the region in their rebellion against Rome. But this brave commander was captured by the Romans just a few months later, eventually becoming a Roman citizen and becoming the author of some of the most important Jewish works in history. Today, the world knows this man as Josephus Flavius, and thanks to his writings, Israeli researcher Dr. Yinon Shivtiel has been able to identify the very sites in which he fought for the Jewish people 2 millennia ago. After visiting various archaeological sites identified in the Great Revolt like Tiberias, Arbel, and Mero, Dr. Shivtiel noticed that they were all close to steep cliffs and natural caves, and that's when he began to visit them by climbing and rope descent. And what he found was unbelievable. A multitude of ancient coins, jars, lamps, and arrows dating back to the 1st century. That, he says, is how he realized they were indeed the caves described by Josephus. Overall, Dr. Shivtiel says he's identified over 900 caves and 75 hiding complexes, but he says he's still searching for more. Now, there are so many skincare products out there today that it can be really tough to figure out which ones have the best and safest ingredients and are also good for your particular skin. Well, joining us now with Jade Cosmetics' top skincare products is Imbal Busquila, the International Beauty Relations Consultant for Jade Cosmetics. So when it comes to skincare, I've heard that oils are very, very good for your skin, even more than cream.
Yes.
Is that the case, and why is that the case?
Okay, so oils they penetrate your skin. Oils, these are like oil serums,
right,
and they penetrate your skin to the dermis, what creams don't actually do. Their molecule is smaller and it penetrates easier to the dermis and takes care and nourishes your skin from within. Okay, now this doesn't go alone, just this. On top of this, you would want to put a cream and close it, you know?
Okay, so it's the idea is to not just use the oil alone, but to use the oil first and then a cream over that.
And then the cream. And I have brought 2 very special oils today, and we are talking about Sense 5. This amazing oil, if you can see, it has rose petals. Look how gorgeous this is. And once you turn the bottle over, it releases just nutrients into the oil, and it enhances the use of it, and it's so much stronger and it works so much better on your skin.
Right.
And this has argan oil, and this is a half dry oil. What does that mean?
Yeah, what does that mean?
Half dry means that you put it on your skin, you get all the nutrients of oils and serums, but it doesn't keep that oily look and feeling.
Right, because that's always my worry, is that when I'm putting on an oil that it's going to make my skin look oily.
Yes, so it doesn't shine, it doesn't have that shiny and oily feeling to it. It just goes in really quickly.
Wow.
It smells like
roses.
Petals.
Yeah.
I know, it is amazing. It's my favorite product at the moment. I'm loving it.
Wow, and it's so fun to just shake this. I mean, it really is a beautiful product.
Exactly.
Okay, so you put this on, you can put this on during the day. Can you put it on?
During the day, and this specific Sense 5 is available online, and this product is for a bigger range of skincare, meaning more women can use it, not only dry skin, but also women with combined to dry skin.
Got it, okay.
Okay, and
That's
this will
good to
be
know.
for day, for night. It can go anytime.
Okay.
And then I have another oil I brought.
Yeah, and I've heard a lot about this one specifically.
Oh, this is amazing.
Yeah.
This
I have a lot
is
of friends that use
Hydra
this.
Sublime Royal Pomegranate. This is a overnight recovery oil.
Okay.
And it has all the nutrients and the antioxidants that pomegranate oil has.
Okay.
And on top of it, it has omega-3 and 6. Exactly like it works on the inside, it will work on our skin. And this is a great thing to put at night, because it really recovers. You wake up in the morning and you feel like your skin is glowing and shiny.
But how many drops do you need of something like
you
that?
literally need 1 drop is enough. You put it on your hand, okay, just a bit, and you rub it, and you just dab it all on your skin and your
interesting.
face.
I didn't know you were supposed to put it on your hands first.
You put it on your hands, and then you rub it and like kind of massage your skin with it. Okay.
Can you put a cream over that as well?
And then you will close this deal with cream, definitely.
All right, so for those of you who are interested in getting these amazing products, and I have so many friends that have specifically recommended
this one. This is this is an amazing product, but this will go for more dry skin.
Right. Okay, that's good to know. And I have very dry skin, so I'm going to start using that myself because I've heard a lot about it. But for those of you who are interested in getting these amazing products, go to jadecosmetics.com, right? You can actually get, I think they're shipping within just 2 to 3 days,
2 to 3 days.
Which is nothing. And these are always
anywhere
really
around the world, which is...
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, again, guys, these are Israeli products, but what's really exciting is that Jade has now launched in America, so you can order them and even get them as gifts.
Definitely.
All right, thank you so much for joining us,
Thank you.
Inbal. All right, now after days jam-packed with political gossip, we have some celebrity gossip for you, and ILTV's Nittany Manson is here with today's entertainment rundown.
All right, Natasha, that's right. So today we're going to talk about the legendary Hollywood director Tarantino, Israel's very own Wonder Woman Gal Gadot, and the latest superstar to perform in Israel.
So what is up first?
So as we all know, Hollywood director Quentin Tarantino just welcomed his first child into the world, along with his Israeli wife Daniela Pick. They gave birth to their beautiful baby boy, and now they've just revealed his name. Are you ready for it?
Drum roll.
His name is Leo.
Wow, that's actually one of my favorite names. I always wanted to have a son to name Leo, and it's a popular name in my family. I don't know if they named him Leon totally, or if it's just Leo or Leo.
I think it's just Leo from what I've seen, but in case you were wondering, baby Leo has not been named after Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
Well, some of us did. Anyways, he was actually named after Daniela Pick's maternal grandfather, and the firstborn is an Israeli citizen, which is really exciting for Tarantino.
Yeah, that's really cool.
And his name was announced after their private Brit Milah Jewish circumcision ceremony 8 days after his birth, which is traditional in the Jewish faith.
All right, so what is up next?
Well, Gal Gadot, she is making headlines again in Israel for a really interesting reason. She apparently swore back in the day that she would never fly on a private plane despite her growing wealth because she doesn't want to create a big carbon footprint and hurt the environment. But it looks like Gal just broke that promise.
Juicy. So juicy.
Yeah, Gal stepped off of a PJ on Monday morning in Atlanta, and that's short for private jet in the tabloids.
Oh my gosh.
She's apparently flying between LA and Atlanta to shoot her movie Red Notice. But because of the coronavirus outbreak that sent us all into panic with traveling, she was apparently forced to ride a private jet.
Poor girl, that must be devastating for her. But seriously, it is good for her for even caring because a lot of people don't think about the impact that flying has on the earth.
Yeah, definitely. She'd probably also be forfeiting a lot of cash if she refused to fly to stand by those morals of hers. Anyhow, next up, guess who just performed in Tel Aviv?
I actually know this one. It's Lionel Richie. He's my favorite.
That's right. The 70-year-old crooner Lionel Richie says that his friends have been trying to get him to come to Israel for the last 40 years. And now he knows why. Richie performed on election night of all nights for a whole 90 minutes, and it was just amazing. He's now here in Israel for a few days, but get this, after a prolonged performance of All Night Long, as his finale, he said goodbye to the crowd with this: "See you next year."
I guess he liked Israel enough to actually want to come back, which is pretty cool.
We can only hope.
All right, Nittany, thank you for joining us with that update.
My pleasure.
All right, let's take a look at the weather forecast. The weekend is finally here, which means instead of us having a lovely beach day with a high of almost 80 degrees on a work day like today, we will get lots of rain and thunder, of course. That's right, tomorrow is expected to be stormy all day long with a high of 17 degrees Celsius or 62 Fahrenheit, and Saturday should be mostly sunny with a high of 19 Celsius or 67, so it means at least we'll have one day to enjoy the sun. All right, now before we go, let's take a look at what's going viral in Israel. Apparently, this is how you get a haircut in the coronavirus day and age. Everyone's so scared of touching each other that in China, I guess, this is the precaution that they're taking. He has an actual hairdryer attached to a pole. Very interesting. I think that we should implement that here in Israel. All right, that is it for today's news. Today's exchange rate is 3.45 shekels to the American dollar. For more news from ILTV, please like ILTV on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube and Roku TV pages. I'm Natasha Kirchuk, and thanks for watching.